Have a great panel today about NFT and art. We have amazing panelists here. I will introduce you to them shortly.
Hello.
Works perfectly, Vladimir. So, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Vladimir, to Sage, to Nina, and to Chanel. So just to give you a little bit, a short intro to you. So Sage is an artist / musician. He's the founder of Horizon Lab, a full-service production ensemble that specialized on mixed media film, 3D animation, as well as virtual production. Perfect. Chanel, initiator of Unicorn Down, which is on a mission to help build the infrastructure and mentorship for a feminist and queer revolution on blockchain. Great to have you. Nina is a metaverse creative pioneer. She's a founder of digital avatar Lilium Labs and also the initiator of Embryo, a unique application for scanning faces to create avatars, which is as well running in the background, right? And Vladimir, our entrepreneur and founder of K-Club NFT. He has more than 10 years of football experience, so is a real insider in that sport. So let's start with some general question and just like to get a bit of like get into the mood of NFTs already. In simple words, what is an NFT and why did you actually got into that? Who wants to start?
Okay, I can start with that. For me, NFT is a great tool let's say to monetize. It starts with art, yeah. So in the end, that what I do is a little bit different to art. That's why I'm, let's say, the alternative to this panel here, yeah. But for me, NFTs, it's a great tool for me to realize my mission, yeah. And that's implement blockchain into football. So that's what we do. Yeah, simple.
Perfect. I'm very curious. What do you say?
Yeah, personally, I think NFT is an amazing tool and, utilization for everyone. It doesn't have to be artists, right? Like, I feel like we're coming to the stage where NFT is going to be in everyday life for everyone. And right now we see it as art, as like PFP projects, but in itself, it's just, it's just a contract, right? Proof of authenticity that will help people hold value within that and transfer it. And also, like we were thinking in our way of doing NFTs, also like let's say a partial ownership of like licensing either digital assets or licensing digital services. That's kind of like what we were thinking in terms of like utilization. How can we utilize it further other than like outside of the art? I feel like NFTs just have so much potential in everyday lives for everyone. Even just like, I think when you go on like Mintable website, they're just showing it as like a way to go to a restaurant and buy a ticket to a buffet or a ticket to like a show. It's just like using NFTs every day. So I feel like that's just very exciting. Same with AI. I feel like NFT is going to be part of like everyday life where we don't even know that we're using it. What do you have to say?
I think it's a very loaded question. NFTs are a part of our creative identity between Sage, Nina, and I. And to, really pull it back and to just give introductions. I think, us three, we come from the creative realm. I'm from the art world, 19th century and below acquisition. So kind of the curation that we see of the castle. I'm from things that are tangible and physical, but have a lot of antiquity. And so being a cyber futurist and really applying technology on the blockchain with curating art, I think it was the answer to my prayers of wanting to create a different radical decentralization where we could all come together kind of at this round table of cyber nights and be able to construct our dreams. And I think the blockchain really makes this mutable example of creating, minting art, but also connecting physical experiences with the artists. And so kind of an example of where we first started was in Los Angeles. But with the funding of what we were able to do, we moved from Los Angeles to New York, to a gallery in Soho, to the last project that I did at Kraftwerk, 8,000 square meter power plant that powered all of East Berlin, and curating 150 artists of our time, and seeing the success of both Nina and Sage and the other artists really come together in live performances, art on view, minting different art on the blockchain, everything together just really was tangibly things that we can experience beyond just clicking a button and pressing, that you want to buy a piece of art, rather that you get to see the art on view, you get to feel it. And, it's really nice that we're able to really do what we do by minting NFTs and having them be online, but existing further than being online, creating digital identities with avatars and, being able to tour around the world, exhibiting the art that we do, create and display.
I already got a microphone. Thank you. Yeah, it's very hard to speak as the last one about this loaded question. My personal belief is that in the future, everything will be NFT-alized, basically. I think that everything that you can purchase now and that can be, taken at another stop, you're going to a concert. Right now, you're getting a printout, and actually, as a teenager, I went to this concert, and I arrived there, and somebody had faked like a copy of my ticket, and my ticket expired. That's going to be a thing of the past, because now there's only one. It can be digitally, checked if this is the original. So I think if it's a concert ticket, or, I think there's an example. You see a billboard in the city, and the first 50 people who scan the QR code, they will get an NFT of, let's say, a Coke bottle. You take this Coke bottle NFT to the store, and there you get the physical product. So it really is this bridge to me between the digital and the physical world. The missing link that I think we've been trying to implement with all these half-baked technologies, but now we finally got it. As an artist, I think NFTs are the tool to turn art, or anything for that matter, into an asset. And the value of that asset can be whatever you want it to be. If it's actual utility, that you implement this asset into some gaming environment, for example, some PFP, for example, can then be used in an open metaverse application. So I think that utility is one thing. Another utility that is a totally different end of the spectrum is emotional utility, the point of owning something that you own. And I think that's the beauty. It can really serve the very technical side of yourself or the very emotional side.
Thanks for that, definitely. Chanel, you just mentioned how everything started with you three. I would be very curious, how do you start as an artist to get into the NFT space, or not just as an artist, but as a normal person? Do you have a step-by-step guide how to do it?
Yeah, sure. Personally, I feel like you need to follow the path of wanting to be an artist first, rather than be specifically an NFT artist. When people just put a stereotype of oh, that's an NFT artist, and that's not. That is kind of weird for me. Usually when I hear NFT artist, it sounds like cash grab to me. So I feel like it's more you should just focus on being artist first, right? And really realizing what you want to say, what is itching in your brain and wants to come out, right? And just do that first. Then I feel and because NFT market, especially now, is really tough place to be at. I personally got lucky because back in the day we had Clubhouse, and it was really great. I feel like it really pushed my career forward, honestly, and I was able to meet a lot of people in LA who started doing the NFT get-togethers back then, last 1 year, 2 years ago, or something like that. I think honestly, it really shows that NFT world is all about personal connections and building communities. So I feel coming out, turning yourself into a brand, really knowing how to market yourself, being a business, not only an artist, but also a business person, and knowing how to promote, do marketing, how to reach out to people and be open-minded, maintain relationships with collectors, follow up, and also always stay firm on your word. Release when you say you release things, be on point. in terms of timelines and delivery. I think it's very important. It's kind of like, you know, your own company, your own brand that you have to, like your own startup, right? So I feel like you have to see yourself from that point.
Very well said. If I were to just add to that, how I got into NFTs, I think it was also sort of like fate or luck. And we all came together because I really think that we were meant to come together. And people that we meet here at the Crypto Castle, it's kind of just like a ripple effect. And so everyone who believes in Web3 and really is at the beginning of the stage, it's kind of like fate in some way. It fell into my lap, to be honest. I was always in the art world, but the tangible, physical, traditional art world. And I always wanted some type of technology to fuel and drive my passion. And so both as an artist and a curator and creative director, I met a group of people from Silicon Valley that approached me and asked me, hey, you know, it might sound really casual, but I have keys to a space in Venice Beach, and we're going to open something like an art gallery, but it's all going to be on chain. Do you want to be a part of it? And I said, of course I do. You know, I would try to help you in any way possible. And with that really small casual step, we just took very small steps from getting the keys to starting a DAO, me being the only woman a part of this DAO at the end of the table with a bunch of guys, just trying to figure out how to mint art on the blockchain, how to sell it, how to show it. And then 3 months later, Nina was actually one of the artists that I curated. She was late to the panel discussion because she was flying across the ocean from Mexico to LA. And then I met her at the end of the show, and we became really good friends. And to segue from that, her really good friend is Nadia from Pussy Riot. And she introduced me to Nadia and all of our friends, and Nadia kind of took me under her wing and said, I really want to start a revolution where women, queer, and non-binary folks are the talk of the town. And I want to start to actually diversify the community because it is very heterocentric with a bunch of bros in the space, like Bored Ape Yacht Club. And, you know, I know that was actually created by a woman, but a lot of the NFT and blockchain space is very bro heavy in the United States. And so, you know, we just started to bring all of our girls together to create this initiative. And they've done incredible work. I mean, launching multi-sigs for Ukraine during the war, raising $7 million in less than a week to donate the funds directly to Ukraine. And, you know, especially in the past 3 months with reproductive rights for women, launching legalabortion.eth so that we could have funds to be able to do what we need to do in times like that. And so art and activism are central to starting from NFTs to going into more of a political stance, because we do need politics right now. It's very important for us all to come together, and Web3 is a really nice community where you can really be yourself and be honest and just ask other people to help you. And I think that the art world is not approachable in that sense because they really want to get to know what you do and how they could potentially benefit with you instead of work with you. And so I think Web3 is definitely more friendly and open.
Yeah. How I come to NFTs, it was like first how to become from an offline person a really online person. So I think that the early beginning was the pandemic for me. So that brings a lot of change in, I think, in everyone's world. So from that moment I was going more online and then start to do some research about blockchain and NFT, the Beeple thing come up. So then, let's say, the whole NFT hype begins. So, and I see all the possibilities what an NFT brings, and exactly what Sage was explaining, all the opportunities where can be an NFT implemented in. So that makes me so obsessed that I'm 24/7, do some research, going on conferences, connecting with people, and using that for my part of the sector. And that was my way.
Just to finish that off really quick, for me, it's, don't get me wrong, I have an Instagram and I have a YouTube, but I am firmly against the kind of artist economy that social media creates for us. We are expected to, you know, serve the platform with a constant flow of content, a constant flow of work for people to just, see and like and consume, just for the slim chance to be heard and seen so that we can be valued as artists. And so we end up doing a lot of work. We work for months to create something that essentially holds no value for us than this slim chance. So I firmly believe in the values that, come with this new space that we're all creating together. I believe in, being validated just for the work and the people that really, really appreciate it, and just creating a more direct link with the people that do appreciate it, and supplying a way for them to also support us, which is, a like and a comment on social media only goes so far, right? It might make my day a little bit better, but this connection that we can now form that wasn't previously possible, I think that's what I really value, and that's how I got into NFTs.
Well, thanks for sharing. What came into my mind, Vladimir, you're from the football area, you're like the artist, music. I would like to know, how did your workflow change since you're in the NFTs? Is it positive, negative? Do you have a bit more? Can you describe it?
You want to start? I can. So many. Give them all to me. Yeah, basically, I think that every medium and every platform throughout history changed the workflow. I think that people worked differently before oil colors came up, and then suddenly you had this new canvas and this new tool you could work with. And so people started creating new things. When you look at social media, I think we're all, we started all with like photos on Instagram. Now it's like short form video content, all in a vertical format, where personally I am more of a cinema guy. Like I love, super wide cinema frames, whereas, our phones are vertical. And so for NFTs, I think it's a very similar thing, that you have to think about the end use case. For example, if you create something for the end use case being a gallery and the NFT being exhibited there, then you got to think about, okay, like there's probably going to be vertical screens or horizontal screens, so you can create that. If you're making an NFT that's going to end up in a collector's wallet to be shown, when you look at somebody's wallets, it's all little squares. You have to think about that. In the end, I think what's really beautiful about it is that you can think in more complete terms when comparing that to social media, because like social media, you might just want to, do something, but NFTs, I think they're happy when they're more complete, kind of closed works in themselves. So I think that's maybe, for me personally, in my own workflow, how it changed that when I do a little creative exercise or a little piece, I try to think how to round this piece off as a product that somebody can understand and view it from different angles and kind of imbue it with a deeper layer. Yeah, I think this is what this kind of medium makes me think about personally.
How the workflow changed, right? Well, prior to NFT boom, I've been doing photography for like 12, 13 years now. Photography, creative direction, fashion, directing, filmmaking, a bit of modeling, a bit of music. And then 2020 hit, pandemic happened, and I've been wanting to get into 3D more seriously for like ages and combine that with my photography art. And finally that, we all had time, started getting into 3D a bit better. I actually been wanting to create my own avatar for a music project. And then I worked with a bunch of artists, and they were mostly male artists too. And I just felt like they weren't really giving me the eye and the vision and the style that I wanted. And also, I felt like I wouldn't have enough control if I had someone to do it. So I started teaching myself how to make an avatar. And then since then, I started Lilium Labs, which I call digital avatar incubator. So basically, I created Nina Sins, which is like, alter ego of Nina. And once I created her, she felt lonely. So then I, digitized my best friend and digitized Sage and a bunch of other friends. And I was like, why don't turn it into a business? So yeah, with my NFT, and then kind of like with NFT boom, I've transitioned more into 3D, and also because I remember after not shooting for like 5 months and then coming back into set, like even shooting for like 5 hours only, and I used to shoot for like, I don't know, 12 hours straight, my back started hurting so much, and I was like, this is hard. So honestly, I just realized how it is important to be mobile and like just more online work, right? Like we all having meetings or via Zoom and etc. So it's just like less, we do have less contact these days. So it's concerning in some levels, right? But at the same time very convenient, and you're able to do so much more, and you're able, like I'm able to be here and then like in Tokyo for like a couple of weeks and then like Mexico for 4 months or something like that, you know. I can definitely just work from any part of the world remotely. That's a beautiful part of it. And definitely with my NFT sales, I've reinvested some of the profits into developing an app, the face scanning app, that will help me digitize my avatars faster. So currently we built a prototype, so I'm kind of fundraising for you know, a full-scale application. We actually just got this project for Photogenics, which is one of the biggest modeling agencies in California, in the States. And what we did is I digitized 10 of their models, and we're going into phase 2, so I'm digitizing 10 of their other models. But there's going to be real models, so my point is creating digital twins of real people rather than like making made-up characters, because I worked on those projects and they didn't feel relatable enough to me, like when you make up a whole story about, oh, this is like an alien that came from another planet. Like, it's cool, but it's hard to relate to. So my point is just to kind of like bring all of us into the metaverse, like as we are, or you know, as some sort of creature, whatever we want to. My idea is that to take the existing models of what they already have on their roster, turn them into the avatars, and instead of like having the avatars take away from their work, they're actually extending their career. So now the models can, you know, work as long as they want to. Yeah, so definitely
It's
like
a lot of input. Thanks, Nina. It's, I mean, we could
just like
talk
tapping
for,
into a little bit. Anyway,
talk for hours. I would quickly.
Yeah, but my
your
workflow
sector.
doesn't change so much. So for me, it was it's still operational. So football business is very operational business where you have a lot of face-to-face businesses, face-to-face meetings, and face-to-face communications. Since I found the project, it's still operational. So because I visit conferences, I'm going, connecting, doing networking and all that, and creating, you know. So to tokenize a football club, it's a lot of work. So yeah, I'm still working.
For 4 minutes, so we have to just like quickly do a. I have still a question for Chanel because she's from Unicorn DAO, and I read on your website, Chanel, that there was just 5% of the NFT sales were generated by female identified artists. Me as like a female, I am really curious, why is that? And what are you doing to tackle this issue?
I think, you know, as women, we ask that question, why? And it may seem obvious, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of social conditioning. And, you know, it's just more of a societal, systemic issue. So out of everyone in the audience, how many of you collect NFTs? If you want to raise your hand. Okay, so 3 of you, and or 4. And out of the 4, how many do you collect art by women or non-binary artists? Yeah, 1 out of 4. Okay, so that's kind of generally like the statistic that I get. And so I think it's more of the afterthought of like, you know, maybe I don't know that I'm collecting art by women or queer or non-binary artists. It's more of needing to research, and it really starts from the curator, the platform, the business of putting women and non-binary artists first before men. And so when we really think of the process of like us all being artists or, you know, entrepreneurs, how we went from Web 2 to Web 3 is that it really changed our lives, and it's up to us. It's in our hands of how we want to change the world. And so it really is in the hands of everyone in the audience of how they want to really bring this new world forth. And so it's more of posing a question to the person creating a platform. How are you bringing visibility to create this new inclusive ecosystem? And so, you know, it's just as simple as that, putting women first.
Awesome words, putting women first. Thanks for answering my question. I have still so many, but I think we can still ask the audience for some question. What is our main man saying? Do you think we still have some time for a question from the audience?
Yeah, I think there, of course, just a couple of minutes to ask some questions. Okay. So, anyone would like to know something?
So I'm coming from the perspective of an investor, and I mean, okay, I happen not to have bought women-created NFTs because I'm very new to that sector, but there are projects like World of Women, which you know are on my list to acquire. But I'd just be interested in, do you have any pitch decks which would be available for an investors club to look at? And we'd be looking to possibly provide advisors or funding or media access, and it's just to start having the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's incredible that you want to prompt a conversation like that. We definitely have multiple projects, so I would love to connect with you after, and if anything looks of interest, that's really how it starts. But thank you for asking that question and just being conscious of wanting to support the initiatives that we have. One of them is sitting to my left, and so she has an avatar lab that I'm just so proud of. I've really seen her from the start and take off, and we actually celebrated the success with her and Sage the past couple of days to be some of the first signed avatars in the metaverse, both as models and physical human beings. So you're really lucky to see them in person today.
Thank you.
Okay, here one more question.
Hello, everyone. One part I experienced over the last year was that the communities of NFTs actually pushed the brand or the purpose of this project that they were in very forward. And it usually happened over Discord. Do you have other ways of actually bringing these communities together, or pushing this, or using this impact that is created there? Do you have any ideas in this? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, well, like I've mentioned back in the day, Clubhouse used to be a huge tool for bringing communities together. These days, I feel like Twitter Spaces, that's where everything is happening. Discord is a good one. Telegram, actually, there's a lot of like, internal Telegram groups as well. And honestly, like real-life conferences is one of the biggest ones. Like nothing better than face-to-face connections. I feel like really, and especially like legitimacy of the project really confirms when they have like a huge party and all the collectors that are going there. I feel like that really confirms, that the project is coming up.
Conferences definitely, and creating exhibitions that are a celebration and just an exhibition of multiple artists on view. It's something that I did at Kraftwerk, like having thousands of people come together over the course of a month, and some of them knowing each other in the space, and then others coming there by chance, and having your perspective, really just be expansive. What did you think about that? Like having an exhibition where it was both a performance, a live minting, an exhibition, and all of that?
Yeah, I mean the whole experience. I don't know if any of you guys went to the that NFT Berlin thing. Was back in April, right? Yeah, it was like really beautiful experience. 2, 3, like how many stories? I mean, it was like a 4-story. Yeah, in Kraftwerk, it incredible, very holy experience, thousands of people. I think what really actually, what happened new to Sage in there is that he didn't know there was a NFT community in Germany, but just coming to that, he met people who are doing NFT Berlin, and now he's involved with them. So like, I think just whatever your city is, just like try to find like a one event, find some people that are probably doing something in your city, yeah.
Yeah. I would recommend, like they're here, we can ask them. There are so many questions. Vladimir, Sage, Nina, Janelle, thank you for being here, answering all our questions. Round of applause for them.